Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, Corky and His Own Shadow. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don't and like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. Every morning in our house begins the same way. Sunlight slides quietly across the floor, the kettle hums like it's clearing its throat, and Corky pads in with the confidence of someone who believes the day was made just for him. Corky is not a large dog, but his personality arrives before he does. His ears tilt slightly forward as if he's always listening for a joke, and his tail has a habit of wagging even when nothing obvious is happening. That morning, however, something unusual joined him. As Corky stepped into the golden patch of light near the window, he froze. On the floor, stretching long and thin, was another dog. A very suspicious one. It had the same ears, the same tail, and when Corky lifted his paw, the other dog lifted its paw too. Corky tilted his head. The shadow tilted its head. His eyes widened with curiosity, not fear, but that gentle, puzzled excitement dogs get when they believe the world has just revealed a secret. He took a cautious step forward. The shadow slid forward. He stepped back. The shadow retreated politely. Corky barked once, short, sharp, and questioning. The shadow barked silently. That was unacceptable. Corky hopped sideways, tail spinning like a propeller, inviting the shadow to play. It stayed flat and calm, refusing to chase him. Confused but determined, Corky pounced. His paws landed right on top of the shadow, and for a split second, he looked victorious. Then he stared down at the floor, sniffing intensely, as if the shadow might be hiding under the tiles. He sniffed again, then looked up at me, eyes wide with an expression that clearly said, "Did you see where it went?" I laughed, and Corky turned back to the floor, slightly offended that I wasn't taking this mystery seriously enough. He tried again, another pounce, another sniff, another look of deep thought. Finally, he sat down right in the middle of the sunlight, his shadow pooling around him like a quiet companion. He didn't chase it anymore. He just watched it, as if deciding whether this strange twin was friend or puzzle. That morning, Corky learned that the world still had surprises, even in familiar rooms. And I learned that sometimes, the smallest moments, like a dog discovering his own shadow, can gently remind us how magical ordinary days can be. Over the next few days, Corky and his shadow became reluctant roommates. Whenever the sun appeared, the shadow appeared too. It followed him down the hallway, stretched beside him during naps, and waited patiently while he drank water. At first, Corky treated it like a trickster, sometimes fascinating, sometimes mildly annoying. He would trot a few steps, stop suddenly, and spin around, hoping to catch it off guard. One afternoon, as I swept the floor, Corky decided it was time to confront the situation properly. He stood tall in a bright square of sunlight and barked, not angrily, but firmly, like he was setting rules. The shadow said nothing. He barked again, louder. Still nothing. Corky frowned, sat down, and sighed in the way only dogs can, a long breath that carries disappointment without bitterness. Then something changed. Instead of fighting the shadow, Corky began to include it. He stretched, and the shadow stretched. He rolled onto his back, paws in the air, and the shadow flipped with him. Corky wagged his tail slowly, watching the shadow's tail wag too. It was as if he realized this quiet companion wasn't an enemy or a toy. It was simply there. On our walks, Corky noticed shadows everywhere. Trees made dancing shapes on the pavement. Birds cast quick, flickering silhouettes. Even my own shadow walked beside us, long and uneven. Corky didn't chase these shadows. He watched them, curious and calm. Sometimes he walked closer to me, brushing against my leg, as if checking that I was real too. At home, Corky began napping in the sun more often. He would choose spots where his shadow rested beside him, curled like a second dog. When he slept, his paws twitched, and his shadow twitched too. I often wondered what he dreamed about. Maybe he dreamed of running without worrying about catching anything. Maybe he dreamed of a world where companions don't need words. Watching Corky grow comfortable with his shadow taught me something subtle. He didn't need to understand everything to feel safe. He didn't need control. He simply accepted what followed him, what stayed, and what quietly shared space. In that acceptance, there was peace. Corky's relationship with his shadow may seem like a small, funny story, but it carries a gentle lesson for our lives today. In many ways, our shadows are the parts of life we don't always understand. Our habits, our fears, our past mistakes, or even the quiet responsibilities that follow us every day. Like Corky, we often try to outrun them, challenge them, or pretend they aren't there. But they keep following us, patiently. Corky showed that peace doesn't always come from winning or changing things. Sometimes it comes from acceptance. When he stopped fighting his shadow and allowed it to exist beside him, his days became calmer. We can do the same. Instead of rejecting what follows us, we can learn to live with it kindly, improving ourselves without anger or shame. This story also reminds us of the beautiful bond between humans and animals. Animals teach us through simple actions, presence, patience, and honesty. They don't judge our shadows, they just stay close. By caring for them with love and attention, we learn to care for ourselves and others more gently. In today's fast, noisy world, let us slow down. Let us observe, accept, and walk forward, like Corky, calmly, with our shadows and with compassion for all living beings.